Welcome to the Four Winds Interactive Condensed Hospitality Sign Tour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some different signage applications we have out in the field at our various hospitality clients. So we'll go over some different virtual concierges, reader boards, guest room TV channels, meeting room signage, etc. So this first signage example I'm going to pull up, or this application, is virtual concierge. And this VC is broken up into a few different sections. You'll notice we're pulling in meetings, and the meetings list that we're seeing here is tied directly into your event management system. So as your event management system updates or is changed, the data, or the events in this case, will automatically pull in those changes, so the signage will automatically update itself. Now if I click here into more detail, I can dive into these meetings. You can see a few different things going on the screen. It lists out our meetings that are going on in the facility. I can also scroll alphabetically to search for a particular event. I could then choose Map It to select that event, and then the solution will actually wayfind for us and show us how to get from point A to point B. So it beacons our "You Are Here" location and then draw a line, or will do pathfinding for us to get to that final destination. Another thing this sign incorporates is RFID technology. So if you had an RFID scanner hooked up and your key cards had RFID technology incorporated with them, you could then personalize your guest experience. So if they scan their card up to the RFID reader, it could generate a personal message for that particular guest, and it could also pull in information only relevant to that guest, in this case, just pulling up their particular meetings. If I jump back to the home page, you can see we can dive into a variety of other applications here. In the upper right-hand corner, we're pulling in flight information. So if I click here to view arrivals and departures, this ties directly into the local flight information. So your guests can come up to the sign and see if their current flight is on time or delayed. So if they go up and they look for departures, and they happen to see if their particular flight is delayed, well, then they'll probably spend some more time in your facility and possibly spend some additional money maybe at your restaurant or bar. We could also click on mobile check-in here, and that will generate QR codes, which are associated with the various airlines. Once a guest would scan that QR code with their smart device, they would then be able to mobilely check in to their particular flight. Again, if we jump back to the home page here, we could tie into our local area explorer. If I click here on more detail, this essentially is tying directly into Bing Maps. So as you can see, I have a series of categories up across the top here. I could make a category selection. So I do that, I could make a selection here. Let's say I want to eat at Table 6 restaurant. And then on our Bing preview area, this is essentially just like being at Bing.com. So as you can see, I can move the map around. I could zoom in and out. And it shows us how to get from our current destination to, in this case, the Table 6 restaurant. We can also have print functionality, so you could hit the print button and print out those directions. There could also be a QR code that was generated here, and that way your guests could take away that experience with them on their smart device. Now let's jump back to the home page again. And you can see we have some additional functionality here. We can integrate with social media. This ties directly in with Twitter feed. This is tying into Instagram account, and this example over here is showing us a YouTube channel. If I make a selection, it will actually start playing that particular YouTube video. So this is just one example of a virtual concierge. As I jump back here into my application dashboard, and let's make a couple more selections here. If I jump into this other application that's a virtual concierge, you'll notice this is a vertical orientation, and it essentially has a lot of the similar functionality we saw in the last sign, but you can see it's broken down quite differently. We have a motion background, and then we have our series of applications or buttons along the left-hand side of the screen here. So while you're here, that would dive into amenities, events, that would be our list of events. Flight information, if I click on that, this will be similar to what we saw in the previous example. So the beauty of the Four Winds Interactive solution is it has all this great functionality, but you can lay it out in any manner that you see fit or that fits with your brand standards. Now if we jump back to our application dashboard, I'd like to show a couple other applications. So those are a couple of virtual concierge examples, but how about some other examples? We can do meeting room signage. If I click here on this Hyatt meeting room example, as it comes up, We're just tying directly into Hyatt's event management system again, so just like the list of events we were showing in our previous applications. And again, this information is automatically tied in, so as it's updated, as the data source is updated, the meeting room signage will automatically pull down that change. Jumping back to our application dashboard again, just show a couple different examples. Here's a guest room TV example. Essentially, any sign that you create could be deployed as a guest room TV channel. So every time your guests turn on their TV, channel 1 could be digital signage, whether and displaying information that's pertinent or that you're wanting to get out to your guests. So it could be a list of events. You could be highlighting amenities or restaurants on site. You could also have a crawl or different information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And of course, your typical date and time stamp weather information is all capable within your guest room TV sign, as it is with any of your other FWi's interactive signage. And one other sign I want to pull up is somewhat unique and just goes to show the vast capabilities the FWi solution has. This particular sign is what we call a tabletop application. So different applications such as this, back of house communications, mobile applications, are all possible with our solution as well. This particular application allows you to have floating or moving regions. So as you can see the different elements or regions on the screen, I can move around. Put my coffee cup over here on our coaster. But more importantly here, you can see these various regions are movable. So picture this on a flat surface, maybe in a coffee table. And if you were sitting on the opposite end of this coffee table, you could hit the rotate button or flip. And if I click that, it flips all of the regions so that they're facing the guest sitting on the opposite end of the table. Let's flip it back so we can see it on our end here. And then these different elements or applications are similar to what we've seen so far. So if I click on the Map It functionality here, it again will do our wayfinding solution. If I bring up our flights, this again is tied right into our flight information display. And then over here, if I click on Food Menu, that actually will tie into point of sale. So this was a very quick overview of some of FWi's Interactive's hospitality applications. Thank you for your time.